evolving. So, Melita Oleteges, are you still on Gong Road?
Well, Olive, right now we are at Kibra, an area known as DC, and what is happening behind me is just the police cannon behind me is actually dispersing protesters who have been advancing from the other side, and this has been going on now for about 30 minutes, and we've seen security being boosted here. There have been reinforcements here. We've seen police officers coming here in numbers just to contain the situation, and as I reported earlier on, Olive, what the police are doing essentially is to ensure that the protesters are cornered in Kibra. Remember, this is the largest slum in Africa with a population of about 1 million people, and a majority of them are supporters of the Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga, and they have been advancing from different sides, and it has been running battles. They are using different routes, and of course they understand the ins and outs of the slums, and that is why it has been running battles since morning, and the police have manned the different routes that actually get into the CBD from Kibra slums. And remember, this is the political bastion of Raila Odinga. Remember, this is a place that he led as a member of parliament for Langata, and that is why he enjoys support. Also, the youth who are here at the Kibra slums, they want to make their way to the Azimio protests in the CBD, where Raila Odinga announced that they will be congregating before heading to State House. But Olive, we are also getting reports of someone who has been shot in an area known as Toi. We are here to confirm that with the police officers, but of course when we get the details of that incident, of course we'll be getting back with more details. But just to report that the police have been shooting in the air to disperse the protesters, as well as lobbing tear gas canisters here just to ensure that they are dispersed. But Olive, just to mention also that the youth actually have been setting up fires in different places, and we have seen the police trying to put off the fires. Earlier on, we saw them actually harassing motorists at the junction, Ngong Road, where junction meets the link road to Kibra slums, and we saw them harassing some motorists there, but the police were able to contain the situation. Also, we've had a number of police vehicles actually damaged. Their windscreens have been damaged because of the pelting of stones, and earlier on actually we had to dodge some stones inside the Kibra slums only. But for now the situation has been contained. The police have managed to corner the protesters here in Kibra. We have not seen any of the protesters advancing towards the CBD, so we are still keeping tabs on this story, Olive. Of course, as I mentioned, we have a cannon here that is of course repelling the protesters even as they retaliate from the other side. And Olive, just to mention as well, you know, these Kibra slums also host Kamukunji grounds, and you will remember that many declarations by the Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga have been made here, and that is why this particular area is his base, and of course his political base dating back years and years back. And of course this is why you can see his supporters, and we have to dodge the stones here, Olive. As you can see there, they are actually advancing. This is what has been happening for the better part of the day since morning, because they are pelting stones and we have to dodge every now and then, but we are safe, I can report to you. But of course you can see police officers there. They are just actually trying to also contain the situation, lobbing tear gas canisters, and this has been going on from early morning, Olive. And at some point we also saw police officers actually make arrests. They were arresting some border riders, some supporters who were actually masquerading as border riders trying to get into town, but they were arrested. And right now we have also seen police officers here just ensuring that everyone who's passing through the road has to authenticate where he is going or she is going, just to ensure that they are not a part of the protesters who are trying to disrupt the peace. But also, Olive, I can report to you that the businesses here, as you can see, small kiosks here and the shacks here that people have set up as makeshift business centers have also been closed, and there is no business going on here. And this just goes to show you the impact these particular protests have on the economy, not just the insecurity part, but also the economy has largely been affected. And of course, you will remember that the Azimio leader Raila Odinga, of course, is trying to champion champion for things that he mentioned are very critical, especially the high cost of living that he says it's taking a toll on Kenyans. And of course, we've also spoken to a number of the protesters earlier on, and they were actually telling us that the life has become unbearable. And remember, this is a slum, so the majority of people who live here are actually of the lower class, and that is why they are actually coming out in large numbers to actually protest. So apart from that as well, you will remember that the Azimio leader Raila Odinga is also pushing for protest, agitating that his win was stolen. And of course, right now the president is William Ruto. So we are waiting to see whether they will actually get access into the CBD. Of course, running battles involved here. But Olive, we are on top of this story, and of course we'll be bringing you more updates as they unravel here in Kibra. Olive.
All right, I need to make way for my colleague Fred Mwetiriri, but I will give you a chance to, give your final remarks. And because Kenyans can find humor in any situation. Somebody shared this picture of a student of CBC with me, an imitation of the bulletproof vests that we are seeing our GSU donning today. But just for the record, this one I don't think can prevent the penetration of a bullet. But your final remarks, gentlemen. Javas, I cut you short, but just in a minute each, if you can, please.
Well, thank you. I think the issue is bringing a nation to the conscientiousness of the urgency of the moment, that life must be bearable. But some of these leaders actually are doing a number of things for purposes of building up their political profiles. A number of them are going to show up today for these protests wearing designer clothes. And in fact, if you're collectively to bring together even the Azimio leaders, the clothes they are wearing can feed half of the protesters. Now, what does it mean then about the conscience of the leaders with regard to the plight of the people? All I'm saying is that the government has got to serve the people, but the leaders too have got to give or develop a philosophy about this disobedience that they are inspiring their people about. It is important that way. The initial citations I made about civil disobedience in India, about Mahatma Gandhi and even Martin Luther King Jr., they were guided by clear philosophies, and every person who was persuaded by these philosophies joined the movement. And so that should be the case here. While our history is replete with demonstrations, those demonstrations are full of violence, chaos, looting, etc. And in fact, even some other people losing their lives. I just want to hope that nobody will lose their lives or others being maimed because of the demonstrations today. We are a nation that can move forward. We've got a great future in front of us as a country. But it is possible if our leaders are conscientious enough to make sure that we build and walk into that future without destroying the present.